What's going on, everybody? If you're new here and this is the very first video of mine that you're seeing, I very much appreciate you clicking on the video. Don't click off if it's not the type of competitive analysis you were necessarily expecting. This is all based on a ROM hack, alright? This is all based on in-game viability, in-game use. Every Pokemon is reimagined entirely. It's completely different than, a competitive context. So if you were expecting some type of analysis or competitive discussion, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I would stick around because this ROM hack is super dope, and I put a lot of effort into it. So speaking of that effort, to help you understand my approach to this ROM hack better and give you some much needed context, I would highly recommend you pause the video if you're new here and read the description down below. There's bullet point lists, just like facts explaining basic information about the ROM hack that'll help you get a baseline understanding of the game. So definitely give that all a little read if you're interested. And then, of course, I also recommend when you're done with this video to check out all the links in the description to other playlists, to videos explaining stuff more in depth if that interests you, if you'd rather listen than read, for example. And then when you're done with this video, you can also check out the Google Sheet, and you can also join my Discord server and get live updates on the hack and all this other fun stuff and join the community. And yeah. We've got this move sheet, which is the most important sheet arguably on the Deuce decks. Definitely give that a look. It has all the links to all the moves and their effects, and it's all organized. So basically, I would recommend studying on this instead of, because I feel like some people might just one-to-one, okay, what does this do? What does this do? What does this do? And that's valid if that's what works best for your brain, but I would recommend just skimming it all, getting an understanding of what is what, because everything gets into categories, right? Once you understand those categories, then you can understand the moves so much easier. It's so much less overwhelming when you're like, oh, okay, this is just what this is. This is just what this is, instead of having to individually check every single thing. Although you might have to do that for some moves anyway. But that being all being said, though, Ting-Lu is the GOAT. I love all four of the Treasures of Ruin so much. They're so cool. I love how unique and sick their designs are. All of them have two new abilities. Every single Pokemon in this game, for the most part, gets 3 abilities to switch between. Again, it's a ROM hack where you're supposed to be taking full advantage of all of the tools that your Pokemon has. That includes abilities, EVs, moves with Move Relearner, all of the crazy new moves that they get. You have so many versatile ways to play your Pokemon now. And that, Ting-Lu is no exception. So, something I didn't mention in the other videos is that I gave them all their original pre-nerf stats. If anybody doesn't know, they actually used to have 480 or 580 BST. They had 10 extra stats, all of them. All 4 of them had 10 extra stats before release when they got data mined, and then before the release they put them down a little bit. They nerfed them a little bit because they probably knew that they would be broken as hell regardless. And they are. I mean, all 3 of them at least are broken in a competitive setting. But of course, this ROM hack, everything is much stronger. Everything has much more tools available to them. And of course, these are endgame legendaries anyways, probably available from like level 50 and up, which is still a good chunk of the game. I mean, that's a good chunk of the game. That's like almost 20 boss fights out of like the 46, if I can do math. But still the end game. But yeah, this guy's dope. Brute Force is a sick choice on him, in my opinion. Not only does it fit the dark vibes of him, but also, if you read the decks, it talks about like slowly brings down its exceedingly heavy head upon the ground, splitting the earth open with huge fissures. So I think that makes him make sense to also be super fucking strong outside of just being super bulky. However, yes, his bulk is definitely like him and Wo-Chien are like absurdly bulky now. Like, it's hilarious, honestly. I love it. This guy is living powerful, super effective hits for sure. So that's obviously very useful. Also, Set Amend. Set Amend, for those of you who are not familiar with my hacks, that's a ground type healing move, right? It's ground type recover. It heals you by 2/3 into sand as well. So that's even better than recover. So yes, a competitive player who's looking at this will see, recovery plus parting shot Ting-Lu and shit their pants. Oh my god, he buffed it. It's bulky, or it has parting shot as sediment. Why would you do this? What the fuck is wrong with you? But when you consider that, again, this is a ROM hack where everything is supposed to be reworked and reimagined, and the power levels are all much higher, it makes much more sense. So yes, this guy is obviously very, very good. Brute Force allows you that insane damage, just if you want to run like a purely bulky set and just get a couple, maybe a kill or two, or just get that kill range to kill something specific. And then Vessel of Ruin and Solid Rock are just to live hits better, which you don't necessarily need them all the time because your raw bulk is so good, but obviously that SpDef boost from Vessel of Ruin makes your 85 base SpDef equal to, let's check, 258 times 258 times 8 times 1.25 is 322.5. Feels kind of lower than I would have guessed. Is my math right? It's only a 25% boost, and in the IVs, that also makes a difference, yeah. Oh, and I'm comparing it to Timid, that's why. I was wondering, I was gonna say that feels too low. Alright, let's just see. Yeah, so I have to hit 322. It's gonna be high, man. Yeah, that makes more sense. It's got like 115-ish, 110-ish SPDF equivalent, which is obviously much better than 85. Even 85 with 165 HP is obviously huge, though. I mean, you don't even like this. Dude, it's so funny. Like, this guy in vanilla is fucking hilariously stupid. Like, his Pokemon's like funny ass Pokemon, bro. If they gave this guy actually like recover in the real games or slack off or whatever in the real games, that shit would be hilarious. But obviously, again, it's a ROM hack. It's a completely different context, so it's totally reasonable within context of the hack. But man, that would be hilarious. Yeah, Glare is another great utility move. Glare paralyzes as well as dropping attack and special attack. All of the Treasures of Ruin have that as a flavor choice. Given that they're all this like resentment, that's also this embodiment of like resentment and hatred and all these other negative emotions, right? That's also why I gave them a parting shot. Even though they don't necessarily have the ability to speak, that doesn't stop Pokemon. I mean, none of the Pokemon that get parting shot can actually speak literally, I think. It's just they're yelling or like scaring or whatever you. I am pretty strict with parting shot now, at least compared to Sweltering Sun, but I think these guys do actually genuinely fit it enough, and I also think it's cool, so I'm giving it to them. Ting-Lu gets tons of ground moves as well, powerful rock moves as well as ground moves, so even dark moves, of course. You know, Payback is 120 power. Of course, he's very bulky, so having to move last for the 120 power is not a big deal at all. Brutal Swing is 120 power, but doesn't require you to move last, but it's recoil. However, Brutal Swing is much better with like Rock Polish or Quick Claw sets. Also, some very niche Scarf sets for like certain boss fights to outspeed like a 60-70 base speed Pokemon in theory could work. You know, with Item Claws, you're encouraged to think outside of the box like that and run Scarf on slow guys like this, but the main use, if you're wanting to get just one kill, would be like Quick Claw. You know, send him in, he lives most hits, Quick Claw, boom, you kill something, right? Because you have all these powerful attacks. With Brute Force, especially, you can run Quick Claw, but even without Brute Force, you're strong enough to kill things. Headlong Rush is, I mean, you can argue it doesn't fit that well because they're slower, so it's like kind of weird to imagine them like charging, but I still think like this ground type Moose behemoth can have Headlong Rush. At the end of the day, I am relatively generous with it, but I still, you know, I typically will either give it to like Pokemon that makes sense to charge forward, like fucking like, I don't know, an example like Mamoswine, you know, shit like that. You can check the list for yourself if you just open up the news decks and type in Headlong Rush and see. But yeah, High Horsepower and Rumination are both incredibly powerful flinch cheese moves. This guy is one of the few guys to get 2 flinch cheese moves, mostly because I don't have the heart to not give him High Horsepower, man, because I'm pretty like autistic when it comes to giving out moves sometimes, which might sound counterintuitive when people who are like, what's with all these signature moves, whatever. But I think mostly I focus on the animation of the move and the concept of the move as opposed to whether or not it just was arbitrarily assigned a signature status, if that makes sense. So yeah, in this case, had High Horsepower, despite in vanilla being distributed on pretty much everything, you know, tons of fucking mons. The animation still in Gen 9 shows a fucking hoof, and that bothers me. I hate that. So because of that, I've only been giving it to mons that make sense, right? That either have like hooves or hoof-like, you know, obviously Ting-Lu doesn't actually have hooves, but Moose have hooves, and he's based on a moose, so I think it fits fine. Or like any type of like quadrupedal, equine type Pokemon. There's another word. It's not equine. Equine is just horses. There's another word for, not equine, but I don't know. Like hoofed animal. Some fucking animal nerd in the comment can look it up and let me know what the term I'm looking for is. But yeah, High Horsepower, again, it's a very powerful tool on him. He doesn't need 2 flinch moves at all. He's already really good, but let him cook, man. He's a legendary. He can be a little bit busted if I want him to be. Yes, 2 flinch moves. I mean, the only other guys, like, I think there's one other that was revealed so far, and then there's another one I have planned. So and the list of double flinch mons is ideally less than 5 by the end of the hack. Hopefully less than 5. Maybe less, definitely less than 10. No way it goes over 10. I will not let that happen because it's very strong to have 2 guaranteed flinch priority moves. Even if they're just 1 PP, it's very good. Yeah, tons of great coverage moves. You got Mega Horn, Brutal Bash. Brutal Bash is dark, fighting type Wicked Blow that can't be used twice in a row, which on such a slow Pokemon doesn't matter much outside of like Rock Polish strats, I guess. Weakness policy, Rock Polish Solid Rock is fucking crazy. You live any super effective hit with Solid Rock. Solid Rock also helps your Fizz Def better because obviously Vessel's Ruin only affects Spadef, so Solid Rock gives you better Fizz Def as well as just letting you live special attacks in general. Living super effective attacks in general, so you switch to Solid Rock when you need that extra oomph for Fizz Def. And then yeah, that Rock Polish is great. 45 base speed with +2 might seem mid, but Rock Polish also gives you an accuracy boost, which in this case is literally only relevant for Megaton Kick. because that's the only inaccurate move on this list that he gets is Megaton Kick. So that's pretty cool. Megaton Kick, Rock Polish is kind of neat, but the main thing is just, you know, outspeeding stuff. You're hitting 356, which is outspeeding 110 on the AI, yeah. So that's pretty damn good, man. Obviously, it's not like the fastest thing on the planet, but not every AI set is going to have, you know, the crazy fast speed tiers, Scarf, Dragapult type shit, which is what competitively brained people might be used to. Yeah, you're outspeeding base 112. That's good. Plenty good. And if you get plus speed Ting-Lu, then you're going crazy. Then you're hitting, like, then you're outspeeding a lot of things. Yeah, then you're hitting 390, which is like almost the entire game at that point. So you're chilling, man, if you get plus speed. But without plus speed, it's still a cool little tech you can run once in a while to get a couple kills because you have the bulk to even live raw quick claw attacks. And then of course at level 65 and 100, which is the last, you know, couple fights in the game, last 8 or so fights in the game, you get the double flinch move, which makes rock polish sweeping even better. So yeah, if you get that plus speed Ting-Lu, you can rock polish, and then you can like flinch move on the sash mon, flinch move on the quick claw mon, and you're golden, bro. You know, you can kind of cheese that way. But again, they are legendary, so I'm okay with them being a bit broken on paper, even by this hack standards. And not to mention there are regular Pokemon that are also this strong and this good. And every Pokemon is great, regardless. You can use every single Pokemon, any Pokemon you want. But yeah, other stuff. Headlong Rush, I mean, I don't know. Rock Wrecker is sick with Brute Force. It's not stab, but it's 140 base power physical Rock type Draco Meteor now, so that's super dope. Strength is Rock type Double Edge, so you can use that with like Rock Polish sets, or just if you need to like strength into another move. Meanwhile, Rock Wrecker will drop your attack, so Rock Wrecker is best for like pivoting in and out. A Jetpack Rock Wrecker is super dope. I mean, this guy, he can be ran so many different ways. Obviously, purely just utility-wise, he can run like Scary Face or Parting Shot, Body Press, all this like utility grip, Foul Play, all this other great stuff. And then of course Brute Force to switch to for those offensive sets when you need that damage boost. You've got that Rock Polish stuff you can try. Torment even is great. Roar is useful to cheese leads if you want to set up on something else. Maybe like, for example, if the lead has taunt and you can't get a Rock Polish off safely, you can roar them out. And then ideally, because you're so tanky, you can set up on pretty much everything else on their team. Click that Rock Polish with that Solid Rock, whatever. You know, you're chilling, man. It's definitely a fun mon to play around with. Heat Crash also is good coverage. I mean, it's got a ton of other good, you know, Stone Edge is the same thing as Brutal Bash. It's a Rock type Wicked Blow, can't be used twice in a row. That fucking rhymes, it's funny. Woke Up even you could technically use, although, you know, you're kind of risking crits at that point. So I wouldn't personally run that unless I was running it with alongside Rock Polish, or if I just had no other option on my team at that point. Dismal Cry, that drops attack and special attack by -1, so that's also a great debuff move on this guy with the Parting Shot and Set Amend and stuff. So yeah, overall, this guy's super fun. I love Ting-Lu, man. I love all of them. Ting-Lu's dope, though, and I definitely think it makes sense for him to be, like, super physically strong, given his lore and his design and stuff. I mean, look at my man's literally holding this, like, giant foot. How fucking heavy is he again? Bro is 1,500 pounds. Yeah, nah, man, he's cool as hell. I love all of them. Sound like a broken record at this point, so I'll probably end the video off here. Solid Rock flavor-wise also fits. I don't think I need to explain it. He is literally, I mean, he's not Rock type, but he also, like, he still makes sense to have Solid Rock. Like, just because he's not Rock type doesn't mean he's not made of rock. Like, he definitely is made up of rock, or like ground, earth, sediment. So yeah, thank you for listening. If you made it to the end, shout out to you. I very much appreciate you. And there's other cool interactions between moves I could cover, like even like Lash Out is kind of like, you know, so many cool things you can play around with. I just don't have time to cover every single one of them. So I'll let you guys figure that out for you on your own. But yeah, Terra obviously is good on all these guys. It's random, randomized Terra. If you get Terra Normal, Double Edge goes crazy, for example, and Giga Impact goes crazy with Terra Normal. Giga Impact being the same thing as Rock Wrecker, but 150 base power and normal type, so that's all sick. But yeah, Mega Horn is a Bug type CC, for example. You know, shit like that I didn't mention, but hopefully people know that by now if you're watching this far into the video. Yeah, I'll be back for more coming up. Peace.